Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing well and welcome to this workshop. So, to kick things off, so if you can put in the chat where you're from, so I have an idea on which languages you have here, which language speakers you have here in this room. That will be really helpful. One of my goals here is to show you the platform, especially the editor, um, showing different languages and how he interacts with like maybe APAC languages versus European languages versus Arabic language and so on and on and on. So if you can put the language you speak in the chat, that will be helpful. And also, the goal here is to make this session as interactive as possible. So if you do have questions, please feel free to send the chat while I'm speaking here. So to let me start introducing myself for those who don't know me. So I'm Jamil. I'm the director of product and operations here at BitWorks. I've been working here for the past almost 11 years. So next month I'll be completing 11 years here. I worked originally as an intern in the projection management team, and then I became projection management team leads. I worked as part of the customer success. Then I migrated to our products team, and finally, I recently migrated to uh, director of product and also operations. So nice to meet you. And again, it's a pleasure to have you here. So I have an agenda here, so we can like cover some topics. But again, if you have questions that are not directly related to this agenda, we can talk about any other topics that you guys may have. Good to have you here, Andy. So from Tirana, Albania, good to have you. All right, so let's start with covering and checking these topics we have for today. So the first the first step is to create your account. So let me show you real quick how to create an account for those who don't have a trial account created in BWWorks yet. I brought to the session top 5 questions of the week. So those are questions that we received from translators the last few days, last week. Um, I'll show how to translate with BitWorks. I'll talk about context-sensitive translation, how the context-sensitive translation behaves with different languages. So again, if you can put the language you speak in the chat, that would be helpful. So we can make this more interactive, and you can also guide me through these different languages. Suggestions for next workshop. So it could be questions, it could be like different subjects that you would like me to cover in the following session. So I'll be hosting the sessions usually every Wednesday. So next week it'll be earlier, so it'll be around 4 hours earlier than this one. So I hope to see you there again. And then next steps. So let's start with creating your accounts. So first thing, you access our website. Hey, Gabriela. Oh, it's my neighbor in Argentina. So I'm from Brazil. All right. So bitterworks.com/pricing. From here, you can see all the details, the different plans. So the only thing that I want to show you here is that you can select either the yearly plan or the month plan. But regardless of the plan you select, you have the solo, boutique, clockwork, and quantum. For this session, most likely we're covering most of the users will be solo users. You have, regardless of the plan, a free 14 days trial with no credit card required. So I would ask you and recommend you to give it a try to BetterWorks after the session if you did not use it yet. And if you like it, you can become a subscriber. If you don't like it, no problem. And if you can share with us feedback about your experience, that will be truly appreciated by our team. So we can make sure that we keep improving our platform, and making sure that all the clients that are using the platform or that will eventually use that platform in the future will have a good experience with Beetleworks. All right. So again, all the details are here on this page, so you can see everything that's included on each plan. But again, my goal is not to talk about that. I just want to show you that once you access this page, you can just scroll down. Again, if you want to start as a solo, so this for one person, you click on Get Started for free, enter your name, email, and that's it. So we're going to send you an email. You can set up your password. With this password, you can access the platform and start your journey with Beetleworks. Again, 14 days free trial with no credit card required. All right. So that's all I want to show you in this page. Now let's go back to the agenda in here. And there's new people joining the session. Welcome. And if you can put in the chat where are you from, so maybe we can talk about different languages and I can show how the platform behaves with those different languages. That will be great because I want to make this session as interactive as possible. Um, Alrighty. Okay, so I have this. I brought this session, these top 5 questions of the week. So maybe one of the questions that you also have are included here. If any questions you have are not included in this list, please you can send them in the chat in here, and I'll do my best to respond to your questions. Or maybe if it's a more complex subject, I can talk about it in the next workshop. All right. Okay, so why I can download translated file from the platform? So first thing, if you have, there are 2 things in there. So the first thing is that are you working with your own account or you are a vendor, a translator that's working for a translation agency that's using Beetleworks? The question, because I'm questioning that because, for instance, let me open the user's profile in here. So if you create your own account, so like a solo subscriber in here, so your user will be an account admin. So account admins, excuse me, have access to everything in the platform within your own accounts, all right? And you can manage everything, permissions, you can download files, you can make changes to price lists, to cost, to everything, all right? So, but if you're working for a translation agency that uses Beetleworks, most likely you're going to have this vendor role. As a vendor, with this vendor role, unless the translation agency grant you additional access so you can download the files, you're not going to have that permission. So let me show you how that looks like. So I'm going to open any random projects in here. Okay, so on top in here, you have this download button, also this translate button. So for vendors, so when I say vendor, I've been talking about the role. The vendor role does not include that by default. So as a vendor, unless the translation agency grant this additional permission for you, you are not going to be able to see the translate button or the download button or the confirm all button as well. Okay, so those are things that are not default for vendor role. Now, if you are an account admin like my user in here, then you see all these buttons. Okay, so that was the first reason why you are not able to download the translatable files from a project, right? So if you are a vendor, you may not have enough permissions, but if you are an account admin and you have all these options and still you can download the translatable file, most likely the problem is related to tags. So let me try to find real quick in here, or maybe I can create a new one. I'll create a project with tags so I can show you that. Give me just a quick second. Okay, so I'm just uploading a few files, so an XML, on a strings file, in a PowerPoint, so different file formats. I'm going to select a contact person, that will be myself. This will be workshop 5. I have some source and target language, so that's not my focus. So I'm not going to touch that. I just want to show you something real quick. So I'm just going to keep translation only to make things simple. And I'm going to create this project. By the way, as I mentioned, so if you have questions about this process and you want to see this in detail, okay, how can I create projects from scratch? How can I set up my organization units, create the users and everything? So we have options. So I have all the sessions, the previous sessions have been recorded and they are available in the BeetleWorks YouTube and also in our LinkedIn accounts. So you can watch those. But if that's a subject that's interesting for most of the people in here, put in the chat, and then I can also cover that in future sessions. Okay. All right. So continuing. Okay. Upload some files in here. I should open the strings to see if I have tags. All right. So I have tags in here. So for someone who's not familiar with tags, tags is this. So basically, this is a placeholder. So we have a percentage X, right? So this should not be translated. So this is part of the code. So this is probably a file from an app that this should be translated. So as a translator, you should not usually be changing or deleting this because tags are important for the structure of the file or to make sure that the files, especially files that are exported from apps, applications, they work properly when they're imported back after the translation process. Right. So I'm translating this from English into Spanish LA. So this is a translation. As you can see, I'm keeping the tags intact, and the same will happen for all the other segments. So if I delete this tag, for instance, maybe by mistake, right? I deleted this by mistake, I did not see that, and I confirm the segment, first I'm going to receive an alert of tag mismatching. So I can click on this red button. So, and then I'm going back to the segment, fix the tag, and then confirm the segment again. Or if I know that this tag should not be there for any given reason, and I'm positive that it should be deleted, then I can override that and just click on this check mark, the green check mark. So this means that, yes, I understand that the tag was deleted, but that was my decision. So let's confirm the segment anyway, right? Okay, but let's say that again, you deleted by mistake, the warning appeared, and you confirm it. You said, okay, everything is good. Then you download the file or try to download the file. Some tags may break the file. So if the tags are missing, some tags, not all of them. So some tags, when they're missing, when they're wrong position, they may not allow the file to be downloaded. So that's one thing that's really important for you to keep in mind. So whenever the file has tags, first thing, make sure that the tags are in there. If you need help to fix tags, and by the way, AI is activated, I'm going to talk about that in a second. You have this BWX augmented actions in here. You can just click on fix tags. It is going to run this and automatically place the tag in the right position, the text, the target, and then I can confirm. But you also have this standard QA filter where you can, actually just, I'm going to deselect everything. I just want to run tags checking. Okay, we have a lot of other checkings in here, but I just want to check for tags. Okay, then I can apply this, and then I run the QA already. So when I click on the segment, they are going, when I click in here, I can see the segment where there are missing tags. So of course, the missing tags for now are false positive because all the segments are still empty. That's why I have so many warnings in here. So if I purchase the file, that's what we usually do. Only segments that are actually missing tags are going to be displayed in here. Okay. Anyway, so those are the main things to keep in mind. So if you are a vendor, so role vendor working for a translation agency, you don't see this button, probably permission related. So if you need that permission, you have to reach out to the project manager from the translation agency, from the LSP, so he or she can grant you access to, so you can download files from the editor, if that's needed for you. Or if you are an account admin and you already have all these permissions, and you still getting an error message when you try to download the translated file, most likely there are missing tags or tags mismatching the text. So you can go segment by segment. So as you can see, so we run another check when we try to load the file for missing tags or mismatches. So as you can see, I cannot download this file as of now, right? Because missing tags, oh, actually can. Okay, this one I was able to download. Some files are going to break. So whenever this happens, you know that in this situation, most likely are tag related. So run these QA checks. So we can go directly to those segments where tags are have mismatches or missing. Okay, so those are the two icons in here. Any questions related to tags, download files, or anything else related to this subject, or other questions? Please send in the chat. Next up, how to pre-translate a project automatically or manually. Okay, so this is kind of similar. So if you are a vendor working for a translation agency, you don't have access to the project. You only have access to tasks that have been assigned to your user. So you are not going to be able to pre-translate the project. That's one thing. Now, if you have your own account in BuildWorks, so you are an account admin, there are two options in here. So I can either manually pre-translate the project. So I can select all the files, go to actions, and then I can go in here and pre-translate the whole workflow. So in this case, translation. Or if I just want to pre-translate some files in particular, I can click in here. So that's one option. So that's the manual option. The other option, that's the one that you're probably going to use most of the time. So whenever the project transitions from pending to approve it, so I'm going here. So just to take a step back, I create the project. Costs have been automatically calculated based on the number of words I have in these files in here, languages, and I have the price list in place. So all that together generate the cost. The cost looks good. Okay, I'm ready to approve this project. I'm going to click on approve. When I approve the project, the pre-translation is going to start automatically. So that is going to trigger automatically the pre-translation of the files, okay? Based on these parameters we have in here, so translation settings, so I can change that before, of course, making the pre-translation. So for now, for this project in particular, just to exemplify, I'm pre-translating with translation memory, and everything else that could not be pre-translated with translation memory is going to be populated with machine translation. Okay, and everything that is 100 or 101% match in the translation memory will be automatically confirmed but not logged. Okay, again, this is just an example for this particular project. I can also go to the upper level. So this is the project level. I can go to the organization level, which is kind of a template. And in here, I can change that. For instance, I can say that from now on, I want to every single project created under this organization unit, which we will use this template, will have the segments confirmed and locked whenever the matches are 100 and 101% match. Okay, so I can change that at the project level, or if that's like a standard, a pattern, then I would recommend changing at the upper level, at the organization level, so every single project you create will already follow those rules. Okay? Any questions about this item or any other topics, please, again, put in the chat. Is it possible to copy and paste in the editor? Yes, it is possible. So from the editor, you can, again, as any other tools, you can press Control and C in your keyboard if you're using a Windows computer, or Command C if you're using a Mac computer, and then paste on the next time. I'm sorry. I run the context sensitive translation that was pre-populated, but let me delete this, and now I'm going to paste this para, so I can just copy and paste all this, right? Also, related to that, you have on top right, if you can see well, let me just also zoom in so you can see it better. We have this help button. If you click on it, you can see a lot of shortcuts. As you can see, these are shortcuts for Mac because I'm using a Mac. But if you're a Windows user, that is going to be automatically adjusted for the Windows shortcut. Okay, so there are a lot of shortcuts here, which for translators are really helpful based on what I hear from translators in general. Okay, so yes, you can copy and paste the editor. Is it possible to accept multiple tasks at the same time? Now, this question is from a translator or multiple translators that are working for a translation agency. So this translator does not have an account in Bitworks, or maybe has, but currently this translator is working in the account of the LSP that he's worked for. So in this situation, what I'm going to do, give me just a second, I'm going to impersonate another user here, which is a vendor, so I can show you how the difference. Okay, so it's a bit different. So this is if you already had the chance to access the platform. So now this is a vendor role in the platform. And just to explain that, when I say vendor, again, it's the role, but vendor is the role that we use for translators, for reviewers, for designers, for anyone who's performing a job in the task we have in the platform. Okay, so there's no different role. There are no different roles for translators versus reviewers versus DTP, etc. Okay, so vendor is anyone who's performing tasks in the platform. All right, so I'm a vendor now. As you can see, I have fewer items on the left side. I don't have access to the full project, only to the tasks that either are assigned to my user or that are available to my user through the automation we have in the platform. And now I go to this tab, available projects. So by the way, this is of course a demo account, so that's why there are so many projects. None of these are actual projects. So I have this project in here, the second project. So this demo project, due date was on April. So this is late already. English into Portuguese, total net words 198, total words 882. There are two tasks in here. So if I click in here, I will expand this box. I can click on select all and I click on I want this. By clicking on I want this, I mean I want to work on those tests. So if those tests are being offered to you like this, so when you have tests on available projects in your dashboard, they are being offered to your user. By the way, this is first come first serve, so maybe there are other translators also receiving the same requests for tasks. So if you go in here and you click on select all and click on I want this, and you click on all the student read and confirm this check is I got it. This tasking here will change to my projects, and now you can start working on it right away. All right. So I think that's the one which I just accepted. So now, without having the project manager to assign it to the task, as soon as accepted, you can start to work on it right away. So I can click in here now, join an editor, and I can open both files and start translating the content on those two files. Okay, so this is at the end of the first file, here where the second file starts. All right, so I can join multiple files, of course. These are just two, but so now respond to your question, yes. So you can either go in here at the top and accept one by one. Same workflow. Go in here, I want it, read and confirm checks. I got it. Next. Hi Marietta. how are you? And or even better, if you want to accept multiple tasks at the same time, go to available projects, translation, and then if there are multiple, you can click on all, select all, and I want this, and start working on those. Of course, you don't need to accept all the tasks. If there are multiple tasks, and let's say, okay, I only have time for this one, that's the Mahler one. Okay, you can just click on it and just accept this one. Okay, so by accessing the project, just give you more flexibility. All right. And okay, so there are more people joining, including Marietta. So welcome. And I'm going through these top 5 questions of the week. If you do have additional questions that are not included in this list, please let me know. Also, if there are topics that you want me to cover during the session, questions, something that you want to understand better about the platform, about the editor, so please ping me in the chat. I will do my best to respond to those questions in the session, or maybe if you're more complex subject, I can bring this to the next session so we can discuss more in detail that. All right. Okay, so next one is this receiving notifications. Before that, I can see a question here in the chat from Sylvia. Is a text pre-translated by a TM or by extended external providers such as DPL? It depends. Sylvia, let me show you here real quick. Um, okay, I have so many tabs open here. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me open again my tab. Okay, and now I'm going back to my account as a user so I can show you again the a user with full access to the platform. Okay, so again, now I have access to all the tabs again because I'm now logged in as an account admin. Okay, pre-translation. Let me open a project, any projects. So if I deactivate this, I'm just pre-translating with translation memory. That's it. And I can set the threshold. Okay. So I only want in this example, I only want the segments to be populated with no problem, Maria, no problem at all. By the way, this session is being recorded. So if you want to see the first part, the first few minutes, it is available on our LinkedIn channel and also on your YouTube channel. The same for the previous sessions where I covered different subjects. Okay, so right now, what I'm saying here, I'm activating the pre-translation of translation memory, and I'm saying that I only want to populate segments with translation maps that are 100% or above. So basically 100% or 101 or context matches. All right. Now, if I change this to maybe, let's see, 80%. Okay, so now I'm pre-translate just with translation memory, and everything that's above 80% to be populated in the segment. Everything else, everything that's below 80% will not be populated. So if there are any segments like this in this situation, they will be empty. Now, if I change this and now I activate the machine translation, I have to type this. By the way, this is just a mechanism that we added to the platform to make sure that people are not activating that by mistake. So if I activate now machine translation, what's going to happen? First, I'm going to pre-translate with translation memory, same thing, same concept. Everything that's above 80% translation max is going to populate the segment. Everything else that will be empty now is going to be populated with machine translation. With that said, the platform, let me open here the translation settings. By default, the platform, when you subscribe for no additional cost, we offer you the Microsoft Azure translation engine. So if you activate the machine translation in a project, by default, it is going to pre-translate with Microsoft Azure. Again, you can always deactivate that, or if you are a subscriber of, for example, DeepL, or maybe one of these other providers such as AWS, Google, Odin, HTML transparent, you can select those, one of those or multiple, add the credentials, and then activate those. Then instead of, for example, using the Microsoft Azure that we offer as default for the platform, you can use your own engine, right? Also, on top of that, you can activate different engines for different languages. So in my example account here, I have DPL for English to German, Microsoft to English into Spanish LA, Google for English into French France, and so on. So as you may know, some machine translations perform better for some languages. So this is just an example here, but yes, you can either use ours if you activate it. That's going to be Microsoft Azure. You can activate a different one or multiple ones if you have like the subscription for those different machine translations. Hope this responds to your questions. If not, please let me know in the chat. All right. Thank you, Marietta, for the feedback. Thank you, Gabriela. And again, is being recorded, so if you have the chance to watch it later, give it a try, and also subscribe to the platform so you can test by yourself. So you don't have to trust me. I think that it's better that to test the platform, see how it goes, and then maybe in the next session you can give me some feedback on how everything is going. Okay. Um, Before I respond to the last one in here, so again, if you have other topics or questions, Silvia or anyone in the room, please send in the chats. That will help us to make sure that this session is interactive and I responding to the questions that you have or that that you may have at some point. Right? Okay. Is it possible to receive notifications for new tests? Again, this is related to the previous item. So it's also for someone, for a translator who is working for a translation agency. Thank you for confirming, Sylvia. So if you are a translator, excuse me, and you are working for a translation agency, there are two things in here. So first thing, there are a couple of things, but I'm going to just cover the linguist part. Okay, I think that's would be easier. I don't want to confuse you. There's another part that's the agents related, but I'm not going to talk about that now. Okay, so for you as a translator, so again, I have the available projects in here. As of now, I only see those available projects when I access the platform. Okay, but maybe I don't want to access the platform every hour, every 30 minutes, okay, to see if there are, excuse me, new tasks. So I can go to my profile here, top right, click on profile, go to notifications, and now I can set here this email notification for tasks. So for instance, I only work from, I don't know, maybe from Monday to Thursday. I know that most of you translators work like every single day. I hope not. But let's say that I work only from Monday to Thursday because I work on something else on Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. And also, I do not work from maybe, let's say, 10 p.m. until the next morning, 9 a.m. So I don't want to I don't want to receive email notifications during this period of time from 10 p.m. until 9 a.m. So those are my quiet hours. So no emails are going to be sent to you during this time. Everything else, so on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, from 9 a.m. until 9:59 p.m., I'm going to receive notifications every hour whenever there are new tasks available for myself. Okay, so then you're going to receive an email. So in this email will be included, okay, so name of the project, number of words, name of the client. So some informations which will help you to make a decision. And also, if you want to have more information, you can just access the platform before you access it and check the, let me show you here. You can check the sample file here. So it's just a preview of the document before you make a decision, okay, whether I want to take this task or not. So you can access the platform. If you are up to it, you can just click on I want. All right. So that was the last question I have at least on my list. So now, Marietta, let me see your question. Do you mean to create an account when you say to subscribe? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry. So yeah, that's what I mean. So um, when I say subscribe to the platform, yes, this was to create an account in here. So by going to buildworks.com/pricing, uh, again, if you're working by yourself, you're probably going to be using this solo. You're going to scroll down, go to get started for free. If you want to, if you're maybe from a translation agency, or maybe you are work with other friends or other translators, the same account, you want to maybe share the same account, you can have this boutique, and then same thing, right? So for the trial, unless you are going to right away start to work with additional people, I would recommend you using the solo for translators. And then if you decide to subscribe, if you decide, excuse me, if you decided to pay for the platform, then you can decide whether you want to keep being a solo user, a boutique, or so on. And again, just remembering free 14 days trial, no credit card required. All right. Now, let me see Sylvia's question. A quick question. I have already used the 14 OK. The only issue was that I was able to create price quotation for a new project was because was just not really, Sylvia. So the trial does not should not be limiting you in any regard. So everything that's included in the platform is available during the trial. So from the simple things like project creating users, organization units, translation memories, glossaries, everything, from to more complex like automations, connectors, and everything. So everything is included. So maybe I will take note here of your questions, Sylvia. We have some people from our support team in the chat as well. I'm going to pass your email to them so they can rush it to you, so they can check and understand with you like they're going to test in your account to see what happened, and they're going to get back to you. Um, and I believe that's impacted your task, so you can also extend your trial for maybe another week if that's okay, right? But I'm going to pass this on to our support team. I'm going to contact you so you can understand what happened and then guide you through this. Okay. Um, what else, guys? Any questions you have? Any topics that you would like to discover or to cover today, or maybe some topics that you want me to cover in the next session? I can give you some examples so of topics that I covered in previous sessions that maybe you do not have the chance to see, but let me open again the account admin. So some topics that I usually cover other than creating the accounts and etc. is creating projects from scratch, setting up your account from the beginning. So you receive your password from email when you access it, when you click on this button and fill out this form. And now what, right? So I can also share with you more details on that if that's helpful. Uh, organization to explain uh, what that does. Um, what else? Quality, translation, review process. So we have still 20 minutes. So I'm going to cover a little bit of the translation editor. Okay. Again, if you have a question in the meantime, let me know. But let's focus on our editor. Okay, let me open. Excuse me. While this is being loading, let me check Marieta's question in here in the chat. Okay, what about issuing invoice? Can we do? Yes, you can do that from the platform. Um, I'm going to touch on this real quick, but so the assumption here is that you have your own account. Okay, so if you have your own account, you're an account admin. Uh, you are able to issue invoices. So how does that work? You create a project, so like this one. You have the price list, you have everything in place already. Okay, so this will calculate the cost. So you upload the files, it checks, generate a log file with number of words in different languages, one or multiple. That will, uh, along with the price list, define the cost. If the cost is okay, you approve the project, as I did for this one already. Okay, so the project is translated. Once the project is completed, so by completed I mean all those files in here are 100% completed and the status is delivered for all those tasks. You are going to mark this project as delivered. Let me try to just find another project so I don't mess up with this project that I'm using for this session. Maybe this one. Okay, this is a perfect example. So like this. So this project is 100% complete, right? So you can see the progress here. All the tasks have been completed. That is just one language and two workflow steps, translation and LQA. Okay, so now I'm going to click on deliver project. I can give a reason, but usually just delivering is fine. Okay, now from this accounting tab on the left-hand side, I can go to receivables, ready to invoice, and I can find here. So this is the project that I just delivered. There was another one. I can click in here and I can create a receivable. So that will generate the invoice, which will then appear in here. You can then download the receivable, this PDF format, and send to your customer. Or if your customer has access to the platform, they can see they have, excuse me, they have access to the platform, and you also granted them permission to see that. They're going to be able to access this from here. All right. But yes, that's uh, in a few minutes an explanation how that works. The same applies for payables. I'm assuming that you are a translator, but if you work as maybe a project manager for a translation company, payables can also be generated automatically. So payables are generated from tasks. So tasks are what the linguists are working on. The linguists complete the task based on the number of words, based on the price list for the linguist. Once the tasks are delivered, this will generate this, usually by the end of the month, this will generate these payables in here, and then you can make the payments. We currently integrate with PayPal and Payoneer for payments. So the process is kind of similar. So task deliver, generate payables. Uh, if the users have, the linguists in this case, have the right information in terms of billing on their profile, so like a rate, word rate, the payment method, and all the details, the platform can make the payment directly to their accounts in either Payoneer or PayPal. Okay. All right. Going back to the project here, and let me know, Mayeta, if you have other questions about this or um, if you have other subjects, please let me know. In the meantime, again, I'm going back to the editor. So I have this file, which was pre-translated previously when I approved the project. So this file has a lot of tags in most segments. So I'm not sure if you are used to this concept of context-sensitive translation. I'm going to explain about it in a few minutes, but I have a slide here that usually is helpful for it. Let me also maybe, oh, I have to do the opposite. Okay. Okay, so what this does, the context-sensitive translation, it works like this. So you have the translation memory, your own translation memory, your own glossary, or if you, again, you are working for a translation agency, they have their own translation memory and glossary from their clients. You have a machine translation if machine translation is activated. And then we put together all this context plus other things such as like previous segments, next segments, lower threshold translation memory matches. So everything that can be helpful, that we can provide to this large language model slash AI engine will help us to provide this context sensitive translation. So context sensitive translation because it is taking into account this context. Again, previous segment, next segment, what's in your translation memory, what's in your glossary. So if you are new to this concept of like large language models, AI, and everything, a quick explanation first about security and the difference about, okay, so what is the difference between using this and going to the AI website, ChatGPT, and putting something there, right? So, quick explanation. So, first thing, information here is public. So, everything that you copy and paste in here is going to be public. And hello, Jota, good to see you here. So, everything that you copy and paste here is going to be public. It's going to be used for training the whole ChatGPT engine that everyone uses around the globe. All right. What we do is that we have a proxy, we have a tunnel, basically. All the information that we send to GPT is encrypted. Also, the information we send to GPT is not used for training the engine. Okay, so and if you can check more details about that in here, LLM. So let me just deactivate that and activate it again. So you can, when you, and by the way, this is deactivated by default. Okay, so if you don't want to use it, you don't have to activate that. In my account, it was already activated, but you can check and read all these policies and everything. So you have the OpenAI API here, Azure. So the most important things are your information is not being used for retraining, for training of the engine. Your information is not used for the public, is not shared everyone else other than the platform and for your own account. And the data is encrypted and deleted after 30 days. Okay. And by the way, it is stored for 30 days just for abuse monitoring. It's not stored for any other reason. So, but again, you can read the full privacy policies in here. So we take you very seriously this privacy when it comes to AI and everything we have in the platform. Okay, but that's the first thing. We don't that the first difference is that your information is not being used for retraining the engine, is encrypted and is deleted after 30 days. Okay, first thing. Now, most importantly, GPT is cool, is great. I use this all the time, by the way, but it is not created for translation. Okay, and now what we created here was all this flow where we are providing context to GPT, to these engines, and then allowing GPT to make a decision, a logical decision, based on what translation is more likely to fit in this context in here, in this segment. So that's what we're doing with all that context that we're providing to GPT, right? It's not just like copying the source in here and saying, hey, GPT, can you translate this for me into Spanish LA, right? There's a lot of layers on that. But anyway, so that's like, in a nutshell, and real quick explanation, the main difference. Now, I just mentioned that GPT was not originally created for translation. So this engine, everything that I created allows GPT to perform really well with translations because it is not just GPT by itself. We are having assistance from machine translation. In this case, I'm using Microsoft Azure. We may have your translation memory, hopefully, in here as well, and time base. So I can give you an example. So this segment in here, so this is the source on the left, right target, pretty standard, right? I only have inputs from machine translation. I don't have translation memory or glossary inputs in here. I'm going to show another segment which has both. But what I'm doing here, I'm providing to GPT just a machine translation suggestion. It is going to work? Yes, it is going to work. It is ideal? No, it is not ideal. Ideally, the more context we provide to GPT, the better will be the outcome. So, but again, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to ask this to context sensitive translation to provide me a translation. The context sensitive translation agreed with what was in the machine translation. So it is considering that this translation is good. Okay, but let's say that I want maybe let me see a segment here. Search files. Okay, so same thing here. I don't have translation memories, I don't have glossary. But I want to add certified because my client told me that certified in their industry is not translated. It should be kept English. All right. So now let's see what's going to happen. It may use or may not use that depending on if it understand that in this context it makes sense to keep certified in English or not. But let's see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So now you can see a difference here. So now that I provided other than machine translation suggestion, a glossary term, the context-sensitive translation changed this reparado certificado to certified reparado. It's a wrong translation, okay? I mean, it's just an example. Yeah, and I'm so sorry, Jota, for making this example. I know that you are a Spanish speaker, so it's just try to explain. I don't speak Spanish yet, right? Anyway, so as you can see, my glossary have priority over my machine translation. Does that mean that every single time that I have something in the glossary that will be used? Not really. Most of the time it will be used because again, glossary have more priority over translation memory, which has more priority over machine translation. So that's like the prioritization. Glossary terms, translation memory, machine translation. So that's how we prioritize those decisions. But GPT, based on those three items plus previous segments, next segments, previous knowledge, a quicker, may take a different approach, may not follow the glossary, may use something slightly different, right? So now let me apply this, even though it's wrong translation, okay? But I'm going to apply this just so I can show you. Now I have also that now that as I confirmed the segment, I also have a translation memory matching here. Okay, so what I wanted to show you in this few minutes is one thing is this because I want to explain how I would recommend approaching that, right? So adoption should not be our nothing. And when it comes to AI, when you start translating content with engine, even in BeetleWorks, if you don't have content in your glossary, you don't have content in translation memory, even if you have like machine translation activated, chances are translation is not going to be good. You are probably not going to be satisfied with the result. Does that mean that translating with AI is bad? No. Why? Because it is learning from you. So all those changes that I made in here, the term that I added to the glossary, the segment that I confirmed that it was stored in your translation memory will be used for every single segment from now on. So it is learning from you, it's learning from the tone that you're using, it's learning the terms that you use the most, it's learning from everything that you are doing. So over time, it learns from you. So again, I'm not a translator, and that's why This engine is just a tool for you. So in the end of the day, you are the decision maker. And if you, as a decision maker, you decide to go in here and deactivate maybe the context sensitive translation, the spell checker, translation error, and everything, that's fine. You can do that. But one thing that, again, I would recommend is you to keep in mind that you are training the engine. The engine probably is not going to provide you with good translation right off the bat. As long as you understand that the more content you store in the translation memory, the more terms you teach AI, uh, the way that they should be translated, the more likely the translation will be closer to what you consider a good translation. So over time, again, chances are that AI is going to be really helpful for you because you are going to be able to produce more in less time. You're going to be able to do more work again with the same time frame. You're going to be paid more for that in general. Again, in the beginning, maybe you are going to spend some additional time because it is still learning from you, right? But if you give up right away, which is fair, again, is no one is needs to use AI, but if you give up right away, is never going to learn from what you understand that's a good translation, right? You are a teacher, and AI is just a tool. So context sensitive translation is mouse are just tools for that help you to achieve good results with the translation. Um, Last thing but not least, we also have other features here like fixed that I also showed you. Check smells. Smell is really cool. And let me just talk about this real quick. Maybe I have this one here. Smells is a semantic verifier. It's going to check if the sentence, the translation, the translated segment, it is matching what I have in the source. For instance, translation smells is flagging that this translation is omitting minimum fee. So I don't have minimum fee in my translation. That seems to be correct. Yes. So tarifa minima is not in here. So the idea of translation smells is that to guide you on something that may not be correct, that that may require improvement, does not necessarily mean that is wrong. But you, as a translator, as a specialist, you are a decision maker. So I'm going to look at the segment and say, okay, yes, no, I don't agree with that. This should not have tarifa minima. This should be like this. So I can just confirm the segment and move on. Or maybe it's going to help you to identify that this is missing, this translation. We're going to adjust it, and you're going to move to the next segment. So the main goal of translation is now context sensitive, is to let you have more time to focus on what really matters for the target audience, which is the impact. So imagine that you're translating a website, right? The website is a marketing campaign, so you want to impact the target audience. So how you do that? You don't do that by spending time fixing tags, fixing commas. That also has to be fixed, right? But that AI can help you with. Now, with that out of your way, focus on okay, maybe I should research more about this term, how this term is being used in this industry, how can I create more impact for the target audience so we can spend more time on what really matters and what's going to make you or make your clients feel that you are giving them what they want, what the target audience want, right? So again, I'm not a specialist, I'm not a translator, but that's what I feel based on my experience, 11 years working in this industry, that's what really matters. Thank you, Sylvia. So we are right on time, everyone. Thank you for being here. It was a pleasure, as always. Sylvia, I saw your last item here. I'm going to cover that maybe in the next session. Um, Thank you for being here. This session was recorded. Previous ones were also recorded. This session will take place again most likely next Wednesday. So every Wednesday, um, I'm hosting these sessions. So if you have topics that you would like me to cover, please bring me to the next session. Also, if you tested out the platform, you have 14 days free trial with no credit card required. And if you want to share with me a feedback in the next session, I would appreciate that because I want to make sure that the platform is evolving and the platform is attending to what you as a specialist needs. So performance, to make sure that you are improving the time to complete tasks, improving the time you need to research something on the web. So that's is our goal. That's my goal, and that session is for you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day, week, and I'll talk to you in the next workshop. Okay. Take care.